Hey, I just wanted to give you a little note about this week's podcast before the podcast actually starts. Had a little bit of a technical issue, meaning that most of the first half of everyone else's audio, not mine, everyone else's audio, was completely lost. You'll probably find out more about that when you get into the podcast about halfway in, but we had some really good talk. There's some really good banter right in there. Good jokes, all in the podcast talk segment, the TFE talk segment, and it's all lost. I thankfully noticed it before we completely finished the podcast, but not soon enough that lots wasn't already lost. So it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Hey! I wanted to start this podcast by letting you know that this podcast is now an official member of the YYT conglomerate, the ever-growing, all-devouring entity that will one day claim us all. Please note, none of the members of the podcast are in the YYT, just the podcast itself. Unfortunately, the members of the podcast failed the entry requirements. I now have a letter from the podcast that I will now read out. Wow, I think that was quite a beautiful sentiment for something that has no hands or an ability to write.
Introducing Lemmy and his sensational #1 debut smash, Wrong Way Down a One-Way Street.
I can't. It's a one-way street. Wrong way down 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 a one-way street. What's up?
It's a new decade, and the podcast has been redesigned from the ground up. We've applied a fresh lick of paint to all the members of the podcast. We've reorganized the studio by moving one chair 1 inch to the left. And lastly, we've reconfigured the way the podcast is. Welcome to a brand new segment of the podcast where each podcast I'll give you a puzzle, and maybe on the next one I'll give you the answer. Our first puzzle is this. You have 100 gil to spend at the gil shop. However, the item you want to buy is 1,000 gil, and it might be sold out by the time you earn enough gil. If you even do earn enough gil. So do you A, just be patient, try to collect enough gil. B, borrow a reasonable amount of gil, enough that you know you can pay it back, or most of it back, that people will be okay with it. You'll still have to wait, but not as long. C, borrow as much gil as possible. Fuck whether it's realistic you'll pay it back or not, and if you do earn more gil, just fucking spend it because lol, people don't need things, you need things. Looking forward to your answers, guys. Hey, did you know that Final Fantasy has a video game? Yes, that's right, it's called Final Fantasy, and you can play it today. Final Fantasy is an episodic dice rolling game. There are currently 15 main episodes, with some spin-off episodes as well. Honestly, it's a bit of a mess, but trust me, it's all one big story, following the same group of happy-go-lucky dice rollers that like to cosplay and wear about 4 million belts. Try it today, for free. Once you pay the money to buy it, that is. Alright, it's TFE talk time. Guys, hi. Sorry, haven't been recording your audio. So, I'm recording through my headset now, and, didn't change that. Well, mine's is fine, yours is not.
Talking the entire time and nobody else talking.
So hold on. We have like an hour of you talking to us, but none of us talking.
You know what? Upload it. Ship it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not like it's any other different.
Are you recording this? Because this is all you can put up. Yo, fucked it.
Yeah, yo, you fucked it.
Alright, so we get to just move on like Yo wanted. In summary, Aerith and Zezat is not a real deck. Upcoming events are good. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, my bad. It's fixed now. I should really double check this stuff before we start.
Fixed, or did that conversation not happen at all? And this is just the funny memes of the podcast.
We pretend that we had good content. It just got deleted, guys.
Bro, we had really good content. The camera just ran out of battery.
Yeah.
Please subscribe to our Patreon.
Imagine having a Patreon for this. Fucking hell.
Who would pay for this content, dude?
Yeah, what do you even get? $5 a month. Well, you can come on the fucking Discord too. Who cares?
Let's not pretend there aren't some people with Patreons that don't deserve Patreons.
Hey! I didn't name any names.
Neither did I.
Yeah,
you can't name any names.
I heard you.
I don't think they have a Patreon.
Fucked it. I don't know anything about YYT. Why would you do this to me?
Oh man, there was some good stuff this episode. Shit.
It's all
there
shit
was.
now.
Oh,
I
okay.
feel bad.
Do you want me to reread that script you gave me about you being a cunt? I can
Yeah. If you could just reread the entire 2-page script about me being a cunt,
sick. Thanks.
we'll argue.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Shit.
Alright, let's take it from the top.
Fuck! I don't wanna.
Well, I mean, what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, I guess. Everyone wasn't just randomly recording their own mics, no?
Nah.
Shame.
Okay, Google, can I please have the recording for the last
Yeah.
Hey, can't stop. God damn it.
Okay, Google. Search big titties.
Okay, got him.
God.
Shit. Alexa.
Play Despacito.
Shit. I probably need to have 2 audio recordings as well for this, just to be
Well,
safe.
one thing
Where
that
are
we
we starting
could
from?
start doing, which would improve audio quality in general, is we all record our own mics. If you wanted to
a
put that
fucking
all
nightmare
together.
to edit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so I was just thinking, Jesus Christ.
Any part you cut out, you gotta cut it out of everyone's shit, and you gotta do a sync, a clap.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you
as I was gonna say, we'd have to sync. We'd have to actually sync.
I'll record my own mic when I buy a $100 mic.
Yeah, look,
Yeah,
that's
fair enough.
understandable.
And until then, fucking whatever. It just doesn't matter that much.
Why not just do a test recording for 5 minutes before a show?
Well, I did mean to do that.
Yeah, I came in and
I
you
start
was
recording
talking about
early.
How he's
Yeah, the
fixing-
intention was there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I was just looking at the levels and I didn't see you guys moving. I'm like, oh no.
I'm sorry, guys. If I didn't join first, it would have been someone Yo cared about, and he would have checked it. That's on me.
I can run 2 Audacities, one for mic, one for headset, and then the other 2 backups. So that'll work. It's fine. I'll do that in future.
Okay. All right. So where are we starting from? Where are we rewinding?
I mean, let's just talk about the meta game.
Talk about the meta. All right. Well, Eureka, you had 10 minutes. Go again.
Wait, where are we picking up from?
Just the meta, I think.
We're just gonna talk about the meta again.
Oh, okay. The meta again. The meta. Okay, so
You can just speedrun it.
what did I say? Tier 1 is WAF, Rampair variants. There's 3 color variants and 2 color variants, including the one with ice, the one without ice, and then the 2 colors are always Earth and Lightning. For the WAFs, I would say that the tier 1 version is the fast one, and then tier 1.5 is the slower one and the mid-range one. The other tier 1.5-ish deck is mono ice, I would say. It just isn't quite as good as the tier 1 decks, but it performs a lot better than the other tier 2-ish decks. And it can definitely compete with the slower WAF variants pretty well. And then on tier 2, there's a whole lot of stuff that's just not quite good enough to be on the level of WAF and Rampair. There's Mono Wind, Wind Water. What else did we say? Gilgamesh, the Gilgamesh 11 variants, which also has there's 2 or 3 versions of that. There's the Mono Wind Splashing Earth, which has a harder time against ice and some of the slower WAFs, but it has it has a harder time against mono ice and the faster WAFs, but it has a better time against the slower WAFs. There's the Earth Wind Rampair variant, Earth Wind Lightning Rampair variant that has Rydia to clear the mid range and fast WAF stuff, but still have a lot of Rampair power. That's a good tier 2, tier 3-ish deck. Mono Water was another one that we talked about with Ash Vossler, usually a Veritas and some Tidus, and it just kind of plays reactive, mid-range, good value stuff all around. That's a pretty good deck. Beyond that, there's tier 3, which is I would say that the Flans deck is kind of tier 3 right about now. It can struggle with a lot of the tier 2 matchups, but it's really good against the fast WAF because of the prevalence of Shantoto. And it's pretty good against Wind Water and Mono Wind, assuming you can get the Yasmat out of their hand before they have the Inside Onishi up to protect it. What else is there around there? There's probably Earth Fire is probably decent around there. And at like tier 99, there's the Aerith combo deck.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm sure I missed some stuff there, but that's kind of what.
Yeah, there's like
right
rogue
about
decks
now.
and people and
Yeah.
stuff in between, whatever. There's a lot of mono fire. I don't know where I would put it, but I see a lot of people playing it.
I think
Stellar
that it
exists, I'm sorry.
sucks so bad compared to fucking Waft that there's just
Yeah.
like no reason to play Mono Fire over Waft. There's nothing it does better.
It's a weird deck because you open this set and you're like, oh, fire got a bunch of goods, but like you're right, Waff just does everything it wants to do.
Yeah. If you want to play like a nail deck, then you should just play like faster Waff. If you want to play like a heavy removal deck, faster Waff is going to do that better. If you want to play like big cards, the deck Rampair does it better. There's just like no good, or even the slow Waffs do it better. There's just like no reason to be on Mono Fire over the other stuff available in the high tiers right now. There's nothing that it does better than any of the decks, and it's not the Jack of Trades better than the other decks either, which is sad.
Mono Fire feels like it's a few value plays short of being really good, like a few really good value forwards, right?
Yeah, I will say it has the Zand niche, but there's like we actively play Shantoto 6 right now, and the decks that play Shantoto 7 play like 2 to 3 of it, so it's not like a one of, and it's a lot easier to get just absolutely blown out. Also, Hein really fucks that deck up.
Yeah, Hein's a fucking sick card.
Yeah, Hein is like my favorite. I won't say it's my favorite lighter deck of the set because I like Citra a lot more, but I think Hein is definitely more competitively viable in the current meta. It's a real pain in the ass to deal with, and even cards that are like very specifically designed to deal with like light and dark. I don't know. You have to get it sideways to like caught it or whatever. So your best option is Veritas, and at that point, any deck that's playing Veritas, aside from like mono ice, would often just prefer to have their own Hein, which is kind of the problem.
Yeah, except for like mono water, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the thing is that the decks that do opt for Veritas over Hein have like a pretty bad matchup against the slow or the fast Wafts, you know? And that's just kind of part of what you sign up for.
Well, there's two things I want to talk about, light and dark here, right? One thing is Veritas. I can never justify playing Veritas against a meta that has Rampair in it, because that's just insane. Like, you're going to get blown out in so many matchups if you even attempt to play the Veritas, and you have to, because it's dark, right?
Yeah.
That feels really bad, like, in every situation.
It's not particularly good against Waff either, so...
It can be decent against the slow Wafts, because at the very worst, you usually end up hitting like a Lan or a Seraphy. Those are like pretty good hits, but they usually got an attack in before that ever happened, so...
And the other thing with light and dark is Hein basically replaces Yuri in my mind. It does everything that you want Yuri to do. It's 1k bigger, and it has inbuilt protection. Like, being able to have those late lethal setups on your light and dark feels amazing, right?
Yeah, Yuri's fucking hard, dude. Like, when I was playing the mono wind, you're right, Hein just feels way better. Like, if Hein could do the stuff that he does for wind, I'd honestly try that.
Yeah, wind is the only way that it ever makes sense to play Yuri right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of been that way for a while, though, to be honest. But
there's the wind water stuff, but yeah.
Well, the wind water has to play Citra. There's no way. Like,
no,
you have
I mean, like, in talking like in terms of Yuri, like there was the wind water.
Oh yeah.
It was what?
Yeah,
7, 8?
No, people still playing the last set, right?
It wasn't the Yuri deck of choice last set. I would say probably Opus 8 was when we saw the last of it being like popular. You still saw it every now and again in Opus 9, but it was just like a lot worse than the mono wind with Yasmat's release and everything, and Pinello.
Pinello Fran, yeah.
Plus, Hein just does everything I want.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the best way to put it. Is Hein does everything you want it to do, basically.
You're short of, obviously, Citra, which is kind of interesting, because they're my main two choices for any deck at the moment. Is it Citra or is it Hein, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time when you build the rest of the deck, it's kind of pretty clear which one you're supposed to choose. You know, like I don't think Windwater can ever give up Hein. It's just like not on the menu for them to do that. They need to have the Citra, or like Doga could never, or Une could never give up Citra. You know, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. I still haven't explored those. Unai particularly, I haven't explored that enough this set, and there's still a lot that I haven't been.
I would say that Une it just has a really bad matchup against like the unfair decks. Like it doesn't get you need a Shantoto 7 to clear the Waff board, and then if the Waff board can just go in for 3 sometimes, or if they play Hein, there's just no way for you to kill it. You can't. Like the Fusoya will never line up with the Hein practically. It's kind of difficult to get to the point where Une is deriving enough value to save you from the WAF haste pushes, and then also deal with like the top end of their cards like Hein, or unkillable cards like Cloud. You have to start like blinking Ultimisi really fast, and Une just doesn't have the consistency needed to do that. It still needs 3 colors plus Fusoya, and it's just really hard to get there fast enough. It's also not particularly great against like Sephiroth or like hand destruction effects that's available in Mono Ice. It can't deal with early lock very well, so there's just like a lot of problems with the deck from a metagame perspective.
Effect though, right?
Yeah.
If we can keep board with some good targets, I think it starts to look better, but I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. The problem is getting there and then sustaining that, and it just doesn't do it well enough right now. It needs something that keeps you alive against the fast wafts is the big part. Shantoto is just kind of not enough, especially when you only have room to run like 1 to 2, as opposed to like the full 3 that Flans get. Flans will often, the Flans Ice deck, Ice Earth, will often just have like a better matchup spread in general than Une, but it just doesn't win the control matchups quite as hard as Une does.
Yeah, if you play against slow decks, Une is fucking sick. But then, yeah. You're right. Hein hurts that deck a lot.
Hein hurts the deck a lot, and like it doesn't have a great matchup against Windwater either, because the Windwater just draws into Zidane and infinitely Zidanes you. If they really wanted, the mono win could be playing Alexander for it too. There's a lot of like options available, and while backup destruction isn't really big in the meta right now, you're gonna see a whole lot of fast waff that just doesn't really drive you to play Une, unless you're just like really into it.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
We did it. We recorded it all. Oh, right, Nix and Zelen, you guys got stuff? Zelen, you haven't played the game. You got stuff? You got hot takes?
I haven't been able to play much more than like mono wins /Earth, which has been cool. But yeah, I haven't really been able to take it to any events or do anything exciting.
Deck is a little. It's alright.
Well,
that's what I have to say about your.
I was about to say It's way better after the backups were fixed, and I don't think you saw it after that.
I took the backup fixed line to the event yesterday, and it was fine. I went 3-2. It was okay.
Oh.
But the WAF matchup is fucking makes you want to rip your dick off, to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't really played against WAF much.
Yeah, it's really
hard. That's part of why I haven't really found much success in the Road to Worlds, like these last couple of events, right? Is the meta moved on.
The meta did move on.
It moved on real quick from what was that Worlds.
Your boy just needs to grind the shit out of the game for a little while.
Just
needs a break.
Look, man, come March, I'll be fucking hitting every local.
Every local near you. So
every single one.
It's as many as Yo, dude.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
I will say we talked a lot about WAF and then like didn't bring up this one thing that kind of is very unique to WAF, which is you can kind of play it at any speed that you want. It's like a fully customizable deck, and the only things that you're locked into is like half of your backups are basically dedicated to WAF, or maybe a little bit more than that. And you have to play like 3 Rain, 3 Seraphy, or 2 to 3 Seraphy, and 3 Lan. And then if you're not playing, and 3 Halloween. And like everything else is kind of up to you. There's a lot of pressure to play like Gabranth because it's really good with Rain, and so you benefit from like a lot of 5+. You obviously benefit a lot from like Mist Dragon, and sometimes it's Nail, sometimes it's Hein, sometimes it's Citra, sometimes you play Kusith. There's like a ton of options, and you can kind of play it like really fast with more WAF stuff so that you benefit off the haste more, or really slow with like Gigas and Arden. One of the either 6-drop Shantoto or 9-drop Shantoto. Personally prefer the 9-drop, but 6-drop has been really popular, especially against the fast WAF stuff. And so because there's like all of this room for customization, you can play like WAF at any part of the spectrum and have like if you have a good read on the meta, like feast on it by playing at the right speed. Because it's not like you're locked into like really fast WAF or really slow WAF or straight in the middle WAF. You can kind of like play in like those gray areas and like go over the top of mid-range WAFs, but still be fast enough to deal with the really fast ones. So there's kind of like a push and pull there, and I think it really rewards players who have like a great understanding of the meta of the event that they're about to go into. And I really like that because it's a huge departure from like Layla Viking and like all of the shit that goes behind that where you kind of just play like the same like 45 or like 40 to 45, I would say, where your only choices are to play like water lightning or ice water lightning with the Aegis decks last set. Like now you have like so much more flexibility, and well, a lot like the core is the same, and we call all of the decks WAF. They're like so very different and so customizable. I really enjoy it compared to Opus 9.
Yeah, it's really cool. My natural instinct is to want to try and compare it to what Scions were, but it's not true at all. Scions got like broken down really quickly. Like you have like 15 spare cards because the rest of the deck's decided for you. It's like, do you want Tech or do you want EX Burst? And that was the deck. WAF is nothing like that.
Yeah, you have like 25 slots to choose what you want to do with, and that's really cool to me.
Yeah, and especially being Earth as well. Earth has a ridiculous amount of tech options, which is really nice.
The light and dark slot is mostly flexible there too, and I really like the kind of deck that it ended up being, rather than the kind of deck that it was at the beginning of the format, where everybody played like the same 40 cards, and like the last 10 cards were like your choice of summons. Like it's I think it's come a long way from there, and I really enjoy it.
Nice, we got some content.
Got content, despite losing most of it.
This is fucking bullshit. Double content.
I'm gonna edit all of Nado out.
Thanks. I just thought you might wanted some of the anger in there still. Sorry, man.
See, I was really hoping that it was just a reaction thing for funny memes, but you fucked it.
No, I fucked it. Your headset fucked it.
Oof.
Hey, I'm lucky to be joined today by a special guest who's here for an exclusive interview. I'd like to welcome a pack of Opus X, or Opus 10 as some people like to call it. Thanks for joining us today, X. Or shall I call you Mr. X? Anyway, let's begin. So you're a pretty exciting set, all things considered. Did you know ahead of time you'd make such an impact? Wow, that's a really insightful answer. Thanks for that. How happy are you with the way people have used you? Great. Do you think there's more potential to be unlocked from what you provided? Yeah. 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 Ah, okay. Ah, cool. So going forward, what do you think will be your defining mark on the game? Your legacy, if you were to say that. Alright, that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us. I know you got a busy schedule. Not really, but whatever. See you later, Mr. X. Introducing a musical experience like you've never heard before. The official Baroque grindcore band of the Podcat Potcast, Gojira Choppy. Their first album has just dropped. Buy it now at places. Alright, it's the end of podcast introductions. Your host for today was Yo. Your co-hosts, who were definitely recorded for the entire show, were Nado, Ten, Zelod, Nix, and Eureka. And it's time once again for us to sign off with the iconic podcast saying, kindly reevaluate whatever metrics upon which you consider yourself one of us. Bye.
Did you forget Rob on the shout out for a co-host at the end?
Yes, I didn't write his name down. Hold on, let me put that in. 10. There you go. Nailed it.
Everyone that's ever listened to this will be like, oh, I guess he edited around it. He asked the questions and then put in a bunch of silence. No.
We all sat here.
Fucking awkward.
Great. Good stuff.
Nado.
Are you recording this? Because this is all you can put up. Yo fucked it.
Yeah, yo, you fucked it.